Now coming to the stage, Chairman of the Tennessee Democratic Party, Roy Herron.
Good evening. Good evening. Are you excited to be Democrats tonight? What an amazing crowd. What an amazing crowd here tonight. This is kind of a relay race, this Democratic Party. And over the last several years, there have been lots of different people running that race. I've seen Chairman Tuke here tonight, seen Chairman Forrester and his team. There's a whole group of people that have built up the momentum that we're enjoying tonight. When you look out here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, what you'll see is folks who have contributed to this Democratic Party this year for this event more than twice the amount that was raised either of the last 2 years. And when the dust settles and the bills are paid, your efforts will be rewarded by raising right at 5 times the net that we've raised either of the last 2 years, thanks to what all of y'all have done together. Now, there were some folks on our staff. We were looking for a place. We got Senator Kane. That was the centerpiece of this event. But then we were scrambling to find a place. And then the staff said to me, there's this Musicians Hall of Fame. And I said, well, Country Music Hall of Fame. Some of you all I know have already been over there. They said, no, it's the Musicians Hall of Fame. And I said, well, where is it? They said, in the basement of the Municipal Auditorium. I said, the Municipal Auditorium is older than I am, which is about as ancient as our entire staff can imagine, since I am older than any 2 of them combined. They said, come look at it. Well, here we are, and quite frankly, these folks have been accommodating. It's a great place. If you hadn't been in the museum, I hope you'll go ahead and see the museum. It's phenomenal. And through a lot of hard work by a tremendous staff that I'd like you to join me in thanking, they have worked day and night. They've worked early. They were working this morning at 12:30. They were working again this morning at 7:30. They have been busting it. They've been doing it because they're Democrats, and they will elect Democrats. Would you thank the staff of the Tennessee Democratic Party? You remember when it happened. The Republicans took the State House with the governor. They elected 2 U.S. senators. They elected the majority of seats in Congress. They elected the majority in the House of Representatives. They put us just about where we are now, and the year was 1970. And what happened? There was a young man named Jim Sasser who ran for the Senate against a millionaire. Nobody thought he could win. Everybody said he'd lose, and he became the next United States Senator from Tennessee, Jim Sasser. A young man named Ned McWhorter got elected to the legislature, got elected speaker, got elected governor, and was, at least for those of us from Dresden, Tennessee, who grew up down the street from him, was Tennessee's greatest governor, I assure you. What about that Ned McWhorter and what he did? There was another young man named Al Gore who ran for Congress and was elected, ran for the Senate and was elected, ran for vice president, was elected, ran for president and was elected. Tennessee Democrats came back, and we came back with a vengeance. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll come back this time. I see hope all across this state. I had a woman, I went to college with her. She was a Republican in college. I don't mean to speak ill of her, but it was true. She was. And she was a devout Republican in college. She's been a devout Republican her whole life. She is about my age, so she is not, she's out of her 30s, I'll put it that way. She came to the party the other day. She wanted a job. She said, I am not one of those Republicans. She said, I'm not part of that bunch. She said, I want to work for the State Democratic Party. Until she found out what it paid, she was ready to sign up and go to work. I look around this state. I had a Republican political consultant the other day. He said, you've got to win some legislative races and save us from these crazies. That's what the Republican political consultant said. I talk with people. We've had crowds. I spoke in Knoxville at an event, and I had more people standing behind me outside the room than did in front of me in the room. We went to Wilson County back in the winter, and it was cold and it was snowing. I told a couple of people traveling with me, I said, look, there won't be anybody here tonight. Let's just go in, let's shake hands with everybody, love on everybody, and go home. I'm ready to see Mama. And we went and we saw where obviously the NRA or Ducks Unlimited was having their event at the Wilson County Fairgrounds because there were so many vehicles. I said, that's not it. Find the one where the Democrats are meeting. And then we drove around, there wasn't anybody else meeting. And so we went, and the Democrats were that huge crowd in Wilson County. Mayor, you know what I'm talking about. I am hopeful, ladies and gentlemen. I am hopeful when I look out here and see this phenomenal crowd, and I know what you've done in tough times, and you've stepped up. You've stepped up deeper, longer, harder, farther than you ever have, and you're going to do it again. You're going to do it more. We're going to get others with us. We're going to keep coming. I promise you we are. If you think about it, when they tell you it can't be done, you just remind them what happened. I don't think there's anybody here tonight that can remember a Democratic president before FDR. You think about it. In 1932, they said, no way this country's going to elect some crippled fella who can't get out of a wheelchair, can't walk at all across the stage. They're not going to elect him president. That was FDR. They said there's no way we're going to elect some guy who's a failed haberdasher who went bankrupt out in Missouri, and that was Harry Truman. They said there's no way we're going to elect some guy who's been in and out of the hospital, had the last rites administered to him twice, has been sick and sickly, and is a Roman Catholic when this country had never had a Roman Catholic. That was Jack Kennedy. They said there's no way we're going to elect some guy who grew up and his first job out of college at a poor teacher's college, his first job was teaching Hispanic kids. They're not going to elect him president. That was LBJ. They said there's no way we're going to elect a fellow who's a peanut farmer. Couldn't even get elected to the state senate, got beat. Couldn't get elected governor, got beat. When he got elected governor within 2 years, thought he ought to be president of the United States of America. Everybody knew Jimmy Carter wasn't going to win. Then you come on, and there was Bill Clinton, and I was for Bill Clinton then. I'm for Bill Clinton now. But he was a great president. But at least when he started running, at least until he picked Al Gore as his running mate, I knew there was no way that he was going to be elected president. He had too many problems. He'd run from the war, and he'd run after some women to whom he was not married, and everybody knew it, and it just wasn't going to work out. There was no way we were about to elect him president. And we elected him, and we re-elected him, and he picked Al Gore, and we elected him too. And then there's that fellow, that skinny black kid from the south side of Chicago with a name that nobody could pronounce. The middle name was the only one we could say, and we could only say it because it was the same as the dictator of Iraq. I knew he was not going to be elected president. And then he was re-elected president, and he serves us today. Every time the Republicans say the Democrats can't, the Democrats can. Every time they kick us and think we're down, ladies and gentlemen, we are just backing off and getting another bit of momentum before we hit them right upside the head and do what's right for the working people and the hurting people and all the people in this state that need us. I am hopeful about the future of this party, and I'm hopeful about the future of the state because of you and because of all of those like you who aren't going to quit. And when they see people hurting, when they see a war against women, a war against workers, a war against people who just need health insurance, when they see people going at them and hurting people like that, you're not going to let it happen, and we're not going to let it happen. And we're going to win, and we're going to win, and we're going to win, ladies and gentlemen. We are one good candidate away from winning a statewide race. It can happen. It will happen just like it did in Virginia. And I want to tell you why I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful because of you, and I'm hopeful because of the people I'm about to introduce to you tonight. We've got 4 mayors that we've singled out for particular recognition. The mayors of the 7 largest cities in this state are all Democrats. And we've got 4 tremendous mayors with us tonight. Now, some of us are old enough to remember the leapfrog days. Sarah Kyle, do you remember the leapfrog days? I just had to mention you while I was up here, just in case, for whatever reason it might be. We've got 4 mayors I'm going to introduce you, and all we need is just a leapfrog, and we could have, among these 4 mayors, 2 United States senators and 2 governors. It is my distinct privilege to introduce to you tonight the mayor of the great city of Nashville. Carl Dean came to Tennessee, went to law school at Vanderbilt, excelled there, excelled most and far away when he found Ann Davis, and she consented to marry beneath herself and marry a Yankee, and made him a Southerner, and made him a mayor of a great city, and made him a man that he is today. He made himself, she made him, they made him together. Carl Dean has taken this city, and what ought to be up, and what ought to be down is down. Unemployment is down, employment is up, education is up, crime is down. He's doing the things that ought to be done. He is a great mayor. He would be a great anything he wanted to be. Welcome, the mayor of Nashville, Carl Dean.